There is no such thing as the perfect fighter. And though a few have come close, even some of the sport's most recognizable athletes have major weaknesses to be found in their overall game. Here are 10 MMA legends and their Achilles heels. Daniel Cormier has only ever lost to 2 fighters in his MMA career.
Jones trying to press the issue here.
That's it. He's out. He's out.
Jon Jones has done it.
But those 2 legends, Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic, both used body shots to tremendous effect when dealing with Cormier in their most impressive performance against him. At UFC 214, Jones peppered DC's body with snapping front kicks and punches from the opening bell.
Looked like he knocked him out. He chooses to move up one day in order for an underhook to work.
And by the time he decided to go up top with a fight-ending head kick, DC was already conditioned to try and protect his midsection.
Press the issue here.
That's it. He's out. He's out.
Jon Jones has done it.
Stipe, on the other hand, made a very smart mid-fight adjustment in his rematch with Cormier, totally foregoing all attempts to headhunt in the later stages, instead switching to a determined body assault.
Oh, again. Thinking that DC's going to block them.
DC knows he's
Those are...
that right hand up top. That's it.
And it eventually broke DC down enough for Miocic to get the TKO. Cormier just doesn't deal well with bodywork. Hell, even an aging Anderson Silva took a fight with him on just a few days' notice and somehow nearly finished him with a body shot. A major Achilles heel that more fighters should have exploited. Could you imagine how good Justin Gaethje would be if he had a very solid grappling base beneath him? Well, it's not like the highlight isn't already one of the very best in the world. But on many occasions, in particular his title shots against Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira, it has become very clear that his BJJ is just not up to spec. And it's a shame because his stand-up is completely devastating, and his wrestling allows him to stay upright more often than not. But this problem in Gaethje's skill set seems like it will always be there, and the prospect of him beating a guy like Islam Makhachev does appear to be pretty bleak with this very noticeable hole in his defenses. This one is a modern update, but unfortunately there's no denying it now.
Huge moment in round 1. That'll do it.
Alexander Volkanovski had a very early career loss at welterweight by way of head kick and follow-up punches. He then got dropped twice by Max Holloway in their rematch, one of which came by way of a head kick over the top. And then most recently, Islam Makhachev managed to turn everyone's expectations on their head by finding home for a kick of his own in the very first round at UFC 294. That sounds like a pattern to us. Volk has an odd way of defending against head kicks that just doesn't account for guys who are taller than him. His single-hand defense allows the kick to creep over the top and rattle off the top of his own head. And now that the world knows the opening is there, it's going to be a tough one to fix. Alistair Overeem has been KO'd more across his 2 combat sports than any other top-level fighter.
A matchup with a gun. Oh! Goes the Reem!
3 KO defeats in kickboxing and a whopping 15 knockouts in MMA put Overeem in a league of his own when it comes to taking advantage. The heavyweight division is by far the riskiest in the sport, and in some ways it's crazy that the Reem was still considered a top 10 fighter when he eventually left the sport behind him. But as he got older, his chin started to crack more and more, and with less and less effort from his opponents. When he did eventually retire, most fans agreed that it was the right time. The Diaz brothers are rightly beloved by the masses. No matter who their opponent is, they only ever have one game plan in mind. They fight their own way, and they don't care if you try to stop them.
Out! That's it! He's got the challenge! Diaz! He's out! He is all over!
And while both Nate and Nick could be docked points for their pretty low-level takedown defense, these 2 guys absolutely despise leg kicks. As boxing-heavy southpaws who love nothing more than leaning on their front foot, their opponents have realized over the years just how easy it can be to stifle them by just repeatedly punishing their legs. Sure, you might not finish them with leg kicks, but you can certainly limit their effectiveness, that's for sure.
5-round affair!
Nick once famously said after a fight he lost that his opponent went out there and tried to kick me in the leg. That's not a fair fight. And that quote tells you everything you need to know about their mentality. Conor McGregor is a fighter of many tremendous strengths. His movement, his instincts, his countering, and beautiful overall striking. But if there's one key problem with this Irish icon's overall game, it's his gas tank.
That landed on McGregor's chin.
Even his grappling and takedown defense are a little underrated in some ways. But as an explosive fighter who relishes the first round, every part of Conor's skill set weakens when his cardio starts to fail him.
Where Khabib really starts to get ahead from this position. There's the tap! Still undisputed!
His punches don't have the same snap, his footwork isn't quite as sharp, and his ability to stuff takedowns diminishes severely. And whenever McGregor's cardio drops, you can just see his opponents grow in confidence. It's a pretty major Achilles heel, all things considered, one of the most famous in all of mixed martial arts. If there are two things that Donald Cowboy Cerrone loves in life, it's fighting hard and drinking beer. But unfortunately, his liver isn't quite up to the task when it comes to taking body blows.
Anytime again. He's down. He's down.
In fact, this was always pointed to as one of the most well-known fighter weaknesses in the sport. Cerrone is as tough as they come, and generally he's the type of fighter who warms into a contest the longer it goes. But if you do manage to find that sweet spot on his body, there's a very good chance that he shuts down entirely.
He's gonna stop it. That's it.
Cerrone never did manage to make it all the way to the top of the sport, but if you took away this one fatal weakness of his, all of a sudden his odds would shorten significantly. The MMA world were just about as heavily on board the whole Ronda Rousey hype train as they were for any major star in the sport's history. At the height of her powers, Rousey could do no wrong. She was so much better than her opposition that many fans and analysts started to make outlandish claims about her, about how she could beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight, how she could even take out male MMA fighters in her own weight class. Unfortunately for her, a matchup with Holly Holm showed us all just how poor her striking was.
Finish! Holly Holm is the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world!
It was the first time Ronda was taking on a legitimately world-class striker, and boy did it show. Holly pieced Rousey up from the get-go, making a total mockery of her stand-up before head-kicking her into oblivion in the second round. And if we thought that was bad, Ronda's return against Amanda Nunes was far worse.
Big combination! But then, just like that! Wow! Wow!
Two of the most embarrassing displays of striking in high-level MMA we have ever seen, and they came back-to-back. Anderson Silva's prime was some of the most electrifying MMA we've ever had the pleasure of witnessing. As this dynamic and totally gifted striker set the world of mixed martial arts on fire with one iconic win after another. But for as much as the Spider is a very credible threat off his back, thanks to his black belt in BJJ,
Chael's in big trouble. Chael's got his legs. He's got his legs across. That's what's. He's tapping. It's all over.
fights with Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier, and Chris Weidman showcased just how limited his defensive wrestling was. Silva was not a great takedown defender, and his hesitancy when facing wrestlers would often open up shots on the feet.
Very good off of his back. That's something to think about.
Chael Sonnen actually managed to drop Anderson in their fight with a punch. Are you telling us that would have happened in a straight kickboxing match? No, Anderson had a weak spot when it came to wrestlers, and it often cost him inside the cage. And finally, we come to perhaps the single greatest fighter to ever lace up gloves, or at the very least, the most naturally gifted athlete we have ever seen in MMA. And though you could maybe point to his leg kick defense or even certain aspects of his boxing defense against taller opponents, when it comes to Jon Jones, it's his own personal demons that are truly his biggest weakness.
This is what you want to do. You do realize the prize.
A temporary suspension for Jon Jones was extended Monday by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, as it was also revealed he tested positive for 2 banned substances in a sample provided on June 16th.
Through his self-described party boy lifestyle, Jon has practically ruined his reputation in the eyes of many fans, with a number of high-profile legal, personal, and professional controversies marring an otherwise exemplary career. Things have gotten so bad for Jon that many fans won't even acknowledge his GOAT claim anymore, both because of his alleged PED usage and because of the fact that a lot of people see him as a stain on the sport's reputation. The results in the cage for Jon Jones have been excellent, but it's everything else that causes problems.